Before we dive in, if you're passionate about uncovering the hidden ingenuity of history, make sure to subscribe to After the Sirens and leave a comment about which WWII innovation fascinates you the most. Today, we're going to explore 10 forgotten DIY heating systems from the Second World War that kept families, soldiers and entire communities warm under conditions most of us would consider extreme. These methods weren't just clever. They were life-saving, practical and, in many cases, surprisingly accessible. Whether you're a history buff, a documentary enthusiast, or a survivalist at heart, these techniques offer real insight into resilience and resourcefulness, and some can even inspire modern applications. During WWII, fuel shortages and disrupted supply lines forced people to innovate. Cities under siege, rural communities cut off from regular coal deliveries, and soldiers living in makeshift barracks all had to find ways to survive the bitter cold. Standard stoves and furnaces were often unavailable, so families relied on ingenuity, turning common household items into effective heating solutions. Some of these methods were officially documented, while others were whispered down through generations or rediscovered in wartime diaries. The first forgotten heating system comes from improvised coal and brick stoves. Families in Eastern Europe often stacked bricks to create a thermal mass around a small coal fire. The principle was simple. The fire would heat the bricks, which would then radiate warmth slowly throughout the room. To recreate this safely today, start by lining a small fireproof chamber with dense bricks, add a coal or wood fire inside, and allow the structure to absorb heat before using the room. This method provided steady, long-lasting warmth without constant supervision. Another system relied on charcoal-filled metal containers. In occupied France, civilians would fill small metal cans with charcoal and bury them partially in sand or dirt. This acted as a slow-burning heat source. For practical modern application, small tins can be repurposed with sand insulation for emergency heating in a cabin or outdoor setting, but ventilation is crucial to prevent carbon monoxide buildup. This simple principle also inspired the compact portable heaters soldiers carried in foxholes. Hot water bottle systems were, surprisingly widespread. Families often boiled water in large kettles over a fire and poured it into robust containers wrapped in thick cloth. Beds could then be pre-warmed for hours. A modern adaptation is using thermally insulated bottles with hot water for personal warmth, especially in situations without electricity. During wartime, this method allowed even the elderly and children to maintain body heat without direct exposure to freezing temperatures. During air raids in London, a more inventive approach involved underground duct heating. Citizens used metal pipes to channel heat from communal bakeries or small furnaces into basements. By constructing simple insulated conduits, heat could be distributed across multiple rooms. Today, this idea can be applied by using safe heat sources and insulating pipes to move warmth from a central fireplace to adjoining rooms, which is, in fact, an early version of modern radiant floor heating. The sand-filled radiator system was another wartime hack. In areas where fuel was scarce, civilians filled empty metal drums with sand, heated them over a small fire, and positioned them near beds or seating areas. The sand retained heat for hours. To apply this safely today, a drum lined with fireproof materials and filled with sand can serve as a makeshift heat sink in cabins or off-grid homes. In Scandinavia, peat and turf heating systems were, well, really quite prevalent. Blocks of dried peat would be layered in a small stove or fireplace, smouldering slowly to provide extended heat. This sort of low-intensity burn was ideal for cold, windy environments and actually remains relevant in survivalist contexts where wood is scarce, but, turf or peat is available. Learning to dry and store these materials can be, frankly, life-saving in isolated conditions. Tin can heaters with water reservoirs were common among soldiers stationed in remote posts. The basic design involved a tin can filled with water, placed above a small alcohol or fuel source, and covered partially to radiate heat into the surrounding area. This is, I must say, an efficient way to keep small living spaces warm, and it demonstrates the dual-purpose principle of heat retention and water availability for hygiene or drinking. Soapstone or ceramic heat absorbers were often positioned near small fires to store and slowly release heat over the night. These heavy stones were inexpensive, durable, and incredibly effective. Modern survivalists can actually replicate this by placing heat-retaining stones near wood stoves or campfires, turning stored heat into a continuous overnight warmth source. In Eastern Europe, straw-filled mattresses and bedding placed over warm floors created an insulation layer that trapped heat effectively. When combined with a small heat source underneath, such as heated bricks or a small stove, this created a surprisingly efficient sleeping environment. For practical use today, layering insulation materials under bedding over a heat source can dramatically increase warmth in off-grid or winter survival settings. Finally, portable clay pot stoves were used extensively in both homes and military encampments. These stoves consisted of clay pots stacked to create a small furnace, sometimes fueled by twigs or small coal pieces. The design concentrated heat and allowed it to radiate slowly. Recreating this safely today involves using heat-resistant clay and ensuring proper ventilation to prevent smoke inhalation. The ingenuity of these systems is a testament to human resourcefulness in extreme circumstances. Studying them not only illuminates the past, but also equips us with practical knowledge that can be adapted to modern survival or off-grid living. Applying these methods requires caution and common sense, particularly with ventilation and fire safety, but the principles remain sound. If you found these forgotten World War II DIY heating systems as fascinating as I did, make sure to subscribe to After the Sirens, leave a comment sharing which method you might try yourself, and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts. Understanding these wartime innovations is not just about surviving the past. It's about carrying forward lessons in resilience, ingenuity, and practical skill.